Hello everybody, this is a December 2020 Cubic deck profile. As always, Cubic is subject to bricking, but if you open right, there's actually a lot of things going for this deck. It's got OTK potential, there's a control element, there's the obvious beatdown element and burn element, because Crimson Nova is one of the reasons this deck has a fighting chance with its massive burn damage. It's unaffected by most monsters' effects. It's got huge attack, obviously, so cards like the new support, Dharma, Causality, they give a lot more outlets to this deck. Dharma allows you to cycle through the deck better. Causality allows you to have more control over the board with your cubic counters. This deck is fun, decent, it's cheap. This is a pretty cool deck. So 3 times Crimson Nova. Most of the time you can summon this card on turn 1 or turn 2 because it can be searched with Karma pretty consistently. This card, obviously a beat stick, it's fairly well protected. It can attack again if it destroys a monster by battle. One problem that you might face is that any kind of spell and trap form of removal, like a compulsory evacuation device, bouncing Crimson Nova, at that point you probably have used all the cards in your hand that you were going to reveal to summon this card the first time. You have nothing left to reveal. Besides that back row issue though, Crimson Nova is a pretty strong force to be reckoned with because it is, it's got all these things going for it. It's got great protection, got high attack. One of the reasons this deck is so strong, or helps it to make it be strong. 3 Duza, so alongside Summoner Monk, this is the best normal summon in the deck because you can send any cubic card to the graveyard, most notably the spells, especially cards like Karma and Unification, just great for your rank 4 plays here in this deck. 3 times Vijam. This is a great control style card for this deck because you can attack into your opponent's monster, put a cubic counter on their monster, and then during main phase 2, you special summon this card back from the spell and trap zone in defense mode to have a wall on your side of the field. This is definitely one that you want to play at 3 as well because there's a lot of other cards that reference this card, whether it brings it back from the graveyard or specials it from the deck. So 3 Vijams. I'm playing this, the Dark Garnix, Blade Garudia, Buster Gundil lineup rather than the other 3 monsters. I think these smaller cubic monsters are superior because they gain more attack than the other 3 do. Some of these can attack multiple times, and beating down is a major element of this deck, so instead of the burn damage that the other ones do, I just prefer these 3. 3 times Summoner Monk. This card is a pretty consistent way to make rank 4s or also to link climb using Unification, because there are a lot of spells in this deck for you to discard, which, by the way, those spells you want in the graveyard anyway. So Summoner Monk, it just works really well to summon out Duza, so long as you're not ashed. And speaking of Ash, 3 times Ash Blossom. So this is primarily a going second deck, so you can bring out your Crimson Nova and attack for game. That's one of the major strategies of this deck, so you want to just go second more successfully. So Ash Blossom, pretty essential card. 3 times Karma. So this card is primarily the way to search any cubic monster when this card is in the graveyard and banished as a not hard once per turn, but it can also give on the field one of your cubic monsters up to 2400 attack. And this is, as I've been saying, a beatdown deck in part, so especially the ones that can attack multiple times. This is a great card to boost attack. And another card that boosts attack, 3 times Wave. So this is just, another beatdown style card. It halves your opponent's monster's attack, doubles your monster's attack, and not its original attack as well. It doubles its current attack. So cards like Karma and Wave can be used together, and you can actually go through multiple waves in one turn as well. So sometimes, especially these cards that can attack multiple times, something like a Crimson Nova can have over 12,000 attack sometimes. It can be seriously devastating to the opponent, and this card also does put some cubic counters on the field as well. 3 times Dharma. So very welcome draw power in this deck. This is one of the newer cards that it also puts cubic spells and traps in the graveyard when you do send them from your hand to the graveyard. And in the graveyard itself, This card can recur something like, any of your cubic monsters, but also your Vajam, which you sometimes have used all of and are in the graveyard, and you just need a wall. It's kind of a last resort in the duel. You don't have many cards left. Sometimes your strategy didn't work out. You can get back your Vajam for a wall. 3 times Foolish Burial, good. So pretty much every spell and trap in this deck has a graveyard banish effect, so I definitely think 3 copies of this card is a good idea. 2 times Pot of Extravagance. So Crimson Nova is pretty much the major main deck win condition, along with the spells that boost attack. So you don't necessarily need the extra deck. It's just a good opportunity to use Extravagance in this deck. So forgive me, I don't have a Lightning Storm, which would be a great card to clear back row, which pretty much is the #1 issue when playing Cubics, but I put in these 2 cards to help clear the board a little bit and to also bait out negates. And the last spell is a Reasoning. So like I said, these Cubic spells you want to see, and traps, you want to see in the graveyard. This card establishes your graveyard, and also Reasoning is just pretty much a free Summoner Monk, or Duza, or Vajam, which can all be great to have on the field at different times. 3 times Unification. So I'm playing this card at 3. Even though I'm playing Extravagance, sometimes the links can be banished. This can still be a great way to climb into Appaloosa if you do choose to do so, or just to respond to your opponent getting rid of your cubic monsters. And this card actually ignores the summoning conditions of the smaller cubic monsters. They can't be normal summoned, so, and obviously this is your way to go into Trinity as well. So good card. Causality and Ascension for the last 2 main deck cards. So with Crimson Nova as a easy special summon, and Duza having multiple ways to get on the field, you can usually put at least 2 cubic counters on the field with this card, and it really helps with the control and stall elements of this deck along with your Vajams. And in the graveyard, this card does some burn damage. Ascension, this card is your direct access into Vajam from the deck, so you're at least stalling 1 attack, one monster you're hindering of your opponents. In the graveyard, this card, if your life points are at least 2,000 below your opponent's, you can actually special summon Vajam again from anywhere, actually, and do it again on your opponent's turn, because this card is a trap, of course. And that's the main deck. So the extra deck, 3 times Trinity. So only 3 of these because of Extravagance. There's really no other reason why you would run 3. But this card is obviously ridiculous with its burn damage, its attacking potential, its protection. It's obviously very hard to get on the field as well. But you actually can pull it off sometimes if you open right and you manage to use Karma 3 times, or you open 1 Crimson Nova, use Karma twice. You just manage to get 3 Crimson Novas in your hand in 1 turn. And sometimes you'll even have a rank 4 like Dweller on the field, all in the same turn as summoning this Crimson Nova. Very strong card, but just hard to get on the field. So I am running some very typical Link monsters. This is just for Link climbing potential. I decided to run Phoenix instead of something like Akashic Magician, which would be a generic monster as well. This is also generic, but it can be a lot more useful than other Link 2s. This is the sequence that you're using with Unification, and you'll end up with the Appaloosa with 2 negates on it. So 2 Dreadnought Dreadnoids. This is the alternative way, besides having multiple Crimson Novas on the field, to bring out a rank 10, which are historically some great effects on rank 10s. And this card has decent protection too if you do just leave it on the field. So very typical, generic, general use rank 4s here. Just usually made with 1 Summoner Monk and 1 Duza. These are some of the best ones that have quick effects. And rank 10s, please forgive me again, I don't have a Juggernaut Liba. That would be a great card because that card can have really high attack, but these all have pretty high attack anyways. And Gustav Max does burn damage, which is, part of this deck's core strategy. This card deals with back row. I decided to run 2 of these because you want to bring this card out with Dreadnought a lot of the times to get rid of back row. This card not only has 5,000 attack, which is ridiculous, but it also gets rid of back row, and that's just pretty much one of the main concerns when you're playing a cubic deck. So anyway, thanks for watching this cubic deck profile for December 2020. I hope you enjoyed it. This is just a really cool deck with new support, and I look forward to playing this deck in my duels. So thanks for watching. See you later.